My journey didn't start with a dream. It started with a need, a way to process the weight of life, a way to make sense of it all. So, I began to write. The art of creation comes from the rhythm of nurturing something from nothing, and on that path, I've wrestled with an unexpected challenge. It's not the blank page or the early mornings that have tested me most. It's something far deeper. But even in the midst of struggle, growth is happening. Because this isn't about platforms, numbers, or algorithms. It's about honoring every messy, beautiful, unpredictable part of the process. Hello, friends and fellow adventurers. I felt like I just needed to get out and go for a walk, and I thought I'd take you with me and just talk a little bit about the hardest part. I think the hardest part for me about writing a fantasy duology, and I think that this rings true for a lot of artists. I think this part of the creative process in general, the journey that any artist or creative takes, this particular part of the journey seems to be the hardest for me, at least in this season. I kept having kids kind of in the background of the shot, and I wanted to make sure they're not in the video. So certainly there have been a lot of things that have been difficult. Finishing, as we've talked about, like getting to the point where I even finished was really, really hard. Editing, we've talked about that. Outlining, being structured. The marketing portion is going to be brutal, I already know it. But the hardest part about writing this fantasy duology is learning to champion my own art. One of my favorite accounts to follow is Inspired to Write. Her name is Amy, and she's just absolutely wonderful. Her and her husband James are just, they're great. I call them the celebrity couple that we all actually want and need. But she talks about this a lot. She talks a lot about art, but she talks a lot about championing your own art and being proud of it and shouting it from the rooftops, even when nobody else is listening, even when nobody else is watching or paying attention. And honestly, that has been the hardest part of this whole journey, because the harsh truth, which can equally be freeing, is a lot of people just don't care, especially at the beginning, especially when you are out there kind of by yourself and you're in the beginner stage. I'm certainly in the beginner stage of a lot of things. I'm a beginner vlogger. I'm a beginner writer. All of these different things. Nobody really cares. And so you have to get to a point where you will champion, believe, and love your art first. And I think we need to, speaking to myself, accept that you are an important audience member of your own art. You have to love it first, and you have to champion it first. So I'm going to sit here for a little bit and just kind of enjoy the sunshine, because it's so very nice. think in many ways, being the first ones to champion our art, I think it is an act of rebellion, right? With social media influencer culture, hustle culture, virality culture. I think choosing to champion our own art, even while we're beginners, even when nobody's really listening or watching, I think that's a really beautiful thing. It certainly is not easy. Certainly not easy. This kind of reminds me of like the Knights of the Round Table or something. I feel like a really important meeting should be happening here. Yeah, like I feel like the Council of Elrond is happening here. We just need like a table in the center. Frodo, Sam, and the whole gang. Fellowship of the Ring. It was here. Looks like there's nobody here in this section, so let me see if I can fit in this swing and maybe we can chat. We'll see. My hips barely fit, but that's okay. I do enjoy this spot. It's funny. I realized that once I started talking about rotten iron and the fact that I had taken this complete detour and side quest as a writer and then planning on self-publishing, I realized that, well, one, I needed to still work on my confidence. But at first I was very shy. I was very timid. I was very embarrassed, really. I was really embarrassed to talk about my art. But then listening to Amy especially, realizing that if I wait around hoping somebody will give me the affirmation that I need to keep moving on, I might be waiting for a long time. Certainly encouragement from other people, affirmation from other people, positive reviews from other people are helpful. I don't want to disregard that. But I think there's something that happens when, as the artist, we decide on our own, before anybody else decides, that this is our art, this is our creative process, and it's worth pursuing, it's worth creating, it's worth sharing it with other people, no matter how big that audience is. I think there's something that happens to you as the artist when you decide that, and I think there's something that happens to your art when you make that decision for yourself. When I finally decided that this story was worth telling and this story was worth sharing, I think my writing got better. I was able to push through more of the resistance that naturally happens in the creative process, right? There's this moment where you recognize there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And I hate being in that gap. I hate being in the middle where you've crossed the beginning point, like you're farther than you were, but you're not at the end yet. I hate being in the middle place. But when you decide, like, I believe in what I'm creating and I am going to move forward believing that, even if nobody else does, it just transforms your creative process. I'm not going to say it makes it easy. I think it just transforms it. This is actually really, really enjoyable. I kind of want to stay here forever. So have the big dreams. Don't let go of those big dreams. They should scare you a little bit, you know? They should make you get up in the morning and think, ooh, this feels crazy, right? I think some of your dreams should certainly be delusional. But on your journey there, whatever your creative process looks like, you need to be your first audience. All right. Well, thanks for coming with me on this walk and talk. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this style of vlog, please let me know. I'm still learning. I'm a newbie, but I'm really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. And remember, you are your first audience member. So honor that person, believe in that person, and don't forget to champion your art because the world needs your art.